For the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement that New Zealanders were, quote, more than compensated, end quote, for last year's increase in GST?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, because at the same time that GST went up, income taxes were reduced across the board and benefits along for working families in New Zealand superannuation were increased. Those changes at least compensated, in most cases more than compensated people for the increase in GST. If the member disputes that, then she should fire up the bus and campaign on reversing the tax cuts.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Order.
I think the last part of the answer was unnecessary, Mr Speaker, but supplementary question.
Order. The Honourable Annette King.
How long did he envisage the impact of the GS increase to 15% would take to filter through the system, at which time those on fixed incomes like pensioners and beneficiaries would be compensated for price increases through the normal annual adjustment?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, in some cases actually price increases from GST haven't actually filtered through. People have held their margins or reduced their margins and held prices, but the increases to beneficiaries and the likes were immediate.
Would the Prime Minister mind repeating the last part of the answer?
The benefits and working for families and the likes, those increases were made immediately on October 1.
The Honourable Annette King.
Supplementary question. Why did the government legislate for temporary pre-funding of pensions and benefits to be withdrawn on the 31st of March in 16 days' time, even though Treasury is predicting the CPI to rise to 4.5% by the 31st of December this year? And if he is true to his word that pre-funding will more than compensate price increases, will he now extend pre-funding until March 2012 to help people through the tough times ahead?
The Right Honourable
Mr Speaker, because it's very simple. There's an annual calculation that's done for an increase in benefits and superannuation and the like. That takes account for yearly superannuation and yearly inflation. Of course, that includes the 2.02% increase from GST going up. So the government put a temporary patch on to get people through till the annual adjustment took place. It then took it up, took that off, and compensated it fully with the increase in the CPI.
The Honourable Annette King.
Speaker, does he believe grey power when they stated 3 weeks ago there have been extraordinary price rises which are severely challenging the resources of older New Zealanders on fixed incomes, with further cost of living pressures throughout this year to come? And will he revisit the government's decision not to keep temporary pre-funding in place until March 2012?
The Right Honourable
Well, Mr Speaker, all of the full increase of the CPI has been increased and passed through with an increase in superannuation. I might add that the increase in after-tax or in superannuation has been significant under our government because, of course, the calculations on net average after-tax average wages, and they've increased significantly under our government. Whether there's been extraordinary increases, I don't know, but if Grey Power wants to detail those, fine. But one thing I can say to them, and I know they thank me for it every time I go and see them, is that thank goodness they don't have a Labour government where power prices go up 72% over 9 years.
The Honourable Annette King.
Speaker, is he aware that Grey Power believed his promise to assist them and beneficiaries through the period while price increases stabilised, but now they believe his lack of commitment to that promise indicates, quote, the shallowness of his October 2010 assurances, unquote, and will he now apologise to Grey Power, many of them on fixed incomes, who face a difficult year ahead as costs keep going up?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, the member might be trying to confuse New Zealanders. She's certainly obviously confused her own backbench. But the reality is that there's an adjustment that takes place every year for the CPI. That adjustment is in... Well, look, if the member wants to hear the answer, she's welcome to. If she doesn't, I'm happy to sit down. We won't bother answering questions.
Rahui Katanei. Order. I've called Rahui Katanei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he believe that New Zealanders have been adequately compensated for the GST rise, given that for the full year, fruit and vegetable prices increased by 8.1%? And what consideration will he give to the Māori Party's proposal to remove GST from healthy foods?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, yes, and it's important to understand that the increase in GST is only one reason for the increase in overall food prices. I might add, in terms of fresh fruit and vegetables, there's certain areas where there's actually been a reduction in the cost of those over the course of the last 12 months.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
When will the final items be measured by the Department of Statistics and incorporated into the CPI going from October? The ones that went up in October but haven't been measured yet. When will they finally be measured and incorporated into the CPI this year?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, well, in part they already are. In terms of the others, I'll have to go and check.
Question number 5, Nicky Wagner.